Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Dayton. I'm here to talk to you about my first book, Correcting Our Financial Miseducation, Raising the Bar for the Average. Um, my website is pauldayton.us, where you can learn more about this stuff, my books, and my interviews around the media. The great failure of socialism, known commonly as the New Deal, is for some reason has been successfully invoked by politicians to this day um, to garner favor for their legislation, when in fact it was one of the darkest periods in American history, and a drastic overreach of government. A period which shifted the tax burden from the producer class and the business owner class onto the rank and file class, even though they claimed to be attacking the business owners. The attacks on the job creators, of course, exacerbated the unemployment problems. Unemployment ranged from the area of 15 to 20% for an entire decade. After 5 years of the New Deal, unemployment still reached 20%, which is one in five American workers were out of work still after 5 years of the New Deal. And today we're going to specifically learn a little bit about the Tennessee Valley Authority, one of the many horrors of the New Deal period. The Tennessee Valley Authority, or TVA, was another of the New Deal's forays into fascism. Enacted in May of 1933, the TVA was both hypocritical, anti-business, anti-jobs, and tyrannical. The hypocrisy lied in the fact that while Roosevelt and his Confederates were sounding off against monopolies and holding companies, they created and fostered both with the TVA. By 1934, this monstrosity in central planning paid 9,000 employees, erecting their own town complete with a library, a theater, and a post office. The TVA paid higher wages than the prevailing wage. This was presumably done to gain favor with the element of the public who don't see any further than the end of their nose. However, it had the effect of costing the nation as a whole more money, since the taxpayers paid the wages and not the government. The TVA also charged absurdly low rates for power. In September of 33, the TVA monthly rate for 50 kilowatts was $1.50, as opposed to $2.94 and $4.50 in Chicago and $4.50 in New York. The TVA rate for 200 kilowatt hours per month was $4.50, which was nearly half of the real price charged prevailing in Chicago, which was $7.44. Taxing 98% of the country's populace who did not live in the Tennessee Valley to provide an outfit which paid out overpriced wages, along with putting out ridiculously underpriced power, was not only an immoral scam designed to give the illusion that central planning created a utopia, which the administration attempted to perpetrate onto the citizenry, but also made it difficult, if not impossible, for real businesses, which existed in the area and had both shareholders and employees, impossible for these businesses to compete with such an outfit. The TVA operated at a loss, finding it necessary to go to Congress each year, hat in hand, to beg for more money. The nominally cheaper power for those in the Tennessee Valley, at the expense of the 98% of Americans who did not live in that region, was a solution to a problem that existed only in mythology, since the existing power generation of the real businesses in the area, excuse me, since the existing power generation of the real businesses in the area exceeded consumption by over 60%. Those in the area weren't coming anywhere close to exhausting the capacity for power generation of the real businesses that provided real jobs to the inhabitants of the region. Introducing a centrally planned element into the equation served no functional purpose for the citizens or of that area or of the country, but merely served political objectives of power-mad politicians. After all, the New Dealers in power had every right and freedom to form their own competing firm with their own money if they seriously believed that they could do a better job, but they would only use tax dollars confiscated from others in a venture that offered them an unearned advantage. The villains make themselves clearly visible. Future Republican presidential candidate Wendell Willkie was a trustee of the power company Commonwealth and Southern, along with being a shareholder in Alabama Power. Commonwealth and Southern was a real business with $400 million in shareholder equity as of late 1933. Willkie was concerned, for obvious reasons, that the government's TVA, with its comparatively bottomless supply of funds with which to work, might endanger or eliminate Commonwealth and Southern. When, in 1935, as a part of the New Deal's assault on private enterprise and job creators during the Depression, the TVA passed its Public Utilities Holding Company Act in the midst of an assault on privately owned holding companies. The stock of Commonwealth and Southern had dropped by $3.5 billion since March of 1933. Those billions were gone. The nation was poor by the amount in 2 years due to the TVA's impact on this single company alone. The TVA bureaucrat David Lilienthal sought to kill private sector power creation and distribution, replacing those competitive industries with government monopoly. His ambition for TVA was central planning for items such as flood control, dams, electricity generation, sale and distribution of electricity, manufacture and sale of appliances, creation of recreational lakes, and manufacturing and distributing for sale phosphate fertilizers. He envisioned total control of the citizenry by the government. He was a Rooseveltite, a New Dealer, and a central planner. He was all of these dirty words, which of course means that he was also a failure. Of the TVA dams, which were supposed to help American farmers produce more food and better feed the increasingly needy nation, 2 weren't completed until 1936. The next didn't come until 1938, a single dam in that year. The next 3 didn't come until 1940, which was 7 years after the TVA began. I'm going to end that little reading on the bit about the TVA for you right now. There's more here in this section, as well as sprinkled throughout the New Deal sections in this book. Thank you for joining me here. I encourage you to learn more about it. The great failure of socialism, known commonly as the New Deal, as well as many other issues that impact your life. And frankly, when somebody affixes the moniker New Deal to their legislation, it should spell instantaneous political suicide for that politician and for their legislation, instead of being politically profitable. And that really is what I'm trying to achieve here: a better world for all of us to live in. So, thanks for joining me. My name is Paul Dayton. My website's pauldayton.us, and this book is Correcting Our Financial Miseducation. Thank you and have a great day.